Good evening once again, everyone. Welcome to talk session. And today we are having our managing director and co-founder of JanyuTech, Shri Abhimanyu Raja ji, for today's session, and he's going to enlighten us about the critical technologies and global order, about the outer space assets and minerals available. In his detailed presentation, he'll give us a brief idea about the same. Incidentally, we had this presentation done at a very high-level platform in Delhi, and last week it's a Global Dialogue Forum. The same presentation was given at that where, which was very well appreciated, and I'm sure we all will also gain a lot of knowledge from today's session.
Good evening. Welcome to everyone for this Saturday session. So, as Rajesh mentioned, this is a chapter now being discussed in many international forums and bilateral, trilateral, forums of different countries. For example, Indo-Pacific, Quad, and many other institutionalized multi-country bodies and non-institutionalized multi-country bodies. All are taking this as a subject of debate. Because when you talk about the global order, let me give a small brief about the global order. We have been hearing about this global order from many elite forums or forums of multilateral discussions or geopolitical geopolitical speeches. We have from these people this unilateral and unipolar world order, bipolar world order, all these things. And always the narrations of these seniors revolve around the political leadership of the given country when someone is dominating, right? So now I just wanted to give my own thoughts in that. Rajesh, you can go in for a second slide. Anyway, coming to unipolar, what we mean by unipolar world order is one country or one group of countries dominating the entire globe for a consistent period. And they influence the decisions, influence the social policies, influence the environmental policies and other things. So that is where we are talking about a unipolar system. Bipolar is something where we talk about the two groups of countries dominating the entire global policies, right from environmental, say like education, like poverty definitions, the banking systems, the managerial systems, everything is dominated by two sets of people, including the technology, space policies, like that. Then multipolar is a possible structure where many countries have say in many things, right? So this is what is a basic definition. In my view, this polarity comes with the technology, not just the political power or the will of the given dictator, because there were many dictators, not all could succeed. The persons who succeeded always had a technology back. So, as the critical technologies are going to help the leadership expand or being in a dominating power for quite some time. See, coming to this, if you see the generation one, Industrial Revolution 1, the Industrial Revolution 1 gave England a huge advantage of dominating the world or the technologies, because steam engine started there, the coal firing and the melting of the steel with coke or coal started happening there, and the textiles innovation happened there, and they dominated the globe for almost a century. They were leading, and this domination actually helped them enslave most of the nations, because they either needed a raw material or the workforce or the skill sets or the marketing area to deploy their manufactured material. So in all ways, they dominated the globe just because they were ahead in technology. So the first generation and the first industrial revolution helped few countries, and if you see, slowly it migrated towards Europe, and other countries like Spain, France, Germany, everyone started doing the same thing. They dominated with their technology levels, and they ended up enslaving nations for their requirements, either as a deployment of for selling the products, or taking the raw material from the enslaved countries, or the skilled workforce. All the possible ways they were exploiting the enslaved nations, and in the process they amassed wealth, and wealth led to the power. Simple. So technology, wealth, power. That is where they were growing. That's how they were growing. The second generation, if you see Industrial Revolution 2. So when you go to Industrial Revolution 2, the electrical motor. If you see this slide, sorry, I slipped this slide. The Industrial Revolution 1, the light blue color, the France dominated one set of enslaved one set of nations in the first Industrial Revolution, and the dark blue one is the second round. They again went in for enslaving nations. So every time they were stronger in the technologies, they literally enslaved some nations for their personal benefits, for the country's benefit. So that way, the rulers also were having the enough of prosperity and the required resourcefulness for dominating the other countries. So when it came to the Industrial Revolution 2, right, again Germany and IC engines came in, the internal combustion engines, the oil and the electrical motors, electrification all happened. And those countries who had these technologies literally dominated because they could be mobile, they could move a lot of goods from one place to another, and they could transfer the technologies to other countries. So that way they dominated. If you see this slide, till 1900, the contribution of the percentage as a percentage of the entire world. If you see, Europe had dominated so much because the Industrial Revolution happened. Most of it, the innovations happened, the technology happened everywhere there in the European states. It started from England and it moved on to Germany and other countries. Right. So the countries like US were not in the scene. They are very, very insignificant, right, in the initial stages. And around 1900, they were slightly influential, right. There is no, if you see this map, there is no Chinese part in this anywhere. So if you see the current level, recent this thing, an unseen, some 100 years back, not even 110 years back, where was China? It was not even in the sea, and today, how much it has gone and where UK has gone. So since there is no more innovations and no more technology available with France, UK or Germany, so they are naturally going back in their contribution, and the power of being superpower, all these things, they are living only in the past glory, we can say. So when we talk about the current third industrial revolution went in with computers, software, and we can talk about websites, blogs, and other things. Communication, particularly communication revolution. Most of it was dominated by US. So country prospers by the technology. This is what I want to tell it. This I cannot share it with many forums because many political forums are the geopolitical debaters or the intellectual community still believes that it is the country's administrator who takes a call, and only strategies win a war, right? I'm slightly differing from the thought process because strategies can win a war provided you are backed up by the technology, or only technology you have create the strategies. Because without the technology backup, without a raw material, you cannot think about the finished goods. So the raw material is nothing but your own technology back. So coming to the fourth revolution, today industrial revolution we are talking about software power. We are talking about robotics, artificial intelligence, and virtual realities, global, augmented realities, and so many other technologies. Our youngsters will know it better. Here, I want to stress one point, that this is an opportunity for us to make the globe a multipolar organization. So far, it was, if you see that when I'm going back to after around third revolution, when Gorbachev decided to dismantle the USSR and made it and gave more freedom to their allies. What happened? The bipolar structure became unipolar again for quite dominating period. Very crucial period where US literally, dominated everyone. Earlier concept of enslaving nations by physically occupying the assets and physically ruling was replaced by international policing. So US decided what is right or what is wrong, and it went on to that level that US presidents were given Nobel Prize for peace when they literally went on war with some unknown nations, right? Far off nations, right? So the power, the wealth gave them the power to dominate everyone and influence all the decisions. I'll just take one or two case studies. Here I'll take small break. I'll take one or two case studies of these high-tech technologies and what is the objective of this today's presentation. See, when we present something to global forums, we have to end with what is it we want, right? Generally, we don't conclude it. So even a few days back when I was presenting some paper, all the seminars, everything was good, but nobody knew what is the end of that. So here, what we have to talk is that youngsters, many of us are youngsters, when we are connecting, we please connect to all these global forums. What I have mentioned, my PPT will be available. So you can talk to all these global forums in your Twitter account, or you follow our Facebook account, you follow such organizations, and let us share our viewpoints. Because it is not someone dominating. It is suppose this is what you see in the screen is one asteroid, and if this is worth say 75 lakh crores. I'll repeat, it is worth 75 lakh crores, and it is around 1.5 square kilometers in total dimension, right? So if this is going to be brought down from the space to the earth, this is the property of whom? Who owns this property? Whether all of us as a human society, or the person who brought it, or the technology team which supported him, who is going to own this, right? Same way, when you are coming to even satellite communications, when you are going with the revolution, if someone is going to own as an IPR, then others are not going to have that forever in their life. Then how can we form a homogenized nation? Homogenized globe. So this unipolar, bipolar structure is trying to be a tripolar structure. Unipolar, US dominating, England dominating, then came the US. Then during Cold War period, US and US bloc and USSR were dominating both sides. So we are always stuck between two members so far are two groups of countries. Now it is going to be a tripolar, right? And China is trying to build up. And the dominations are either first generation, it was enslaving nations and literally sucking them to death, or spoiling them maximum culturally, educationally, otherwise. And second level was US strategy of policing, global policing, denying technology. That is the second level. If you see the third level, now China is trying to have a road, what is that? Someone can help me out. That road, international road.
Belt and Road Initiative,
Belt and Road,
BRI.
Yeah, BRI, Belt and Road Initiative, and through that indirectly making everyone a debtor to them, and almost taking their the ruling indirectly. The rulers will be slaves to them, not exactly physically going into the country, but indirectly financially capturing them. So all these people who own the technology, are pioneer in the technology, have a tendency to dominate in one way or other the other countries. But India, as we always talk about Vasudhaiva Kudumbakam. So we always talk about it, and really we behave like that. Even in our international forums, right? We never try to ridicule the other guy, we try to take our rights. So as youngsters who are listening to this speech, we should always know that there is now Bhagwan ek mauka diya that the entire world has come on our lap, right? It is technology, right? Today we are IR or whatever it is we are talking about. It is in our lap. Nobody has a control over that. We can dominate it in any which way we want. So once we dominate it, then we will have a multipolar structure globally, and we can have our own way of living instead of depending on these two or three polar structures, where they one way or other they decide our way of living. Yeah, this is one typical small video. This shows the orbital paths. It's basically to show you the orbital path. Suppose these orbital paths are licensed by ITU to us, to any nation for that matter. And currently, if you see that SpaceX has applied for 24,000 satellites, 48,000 satellites, like that, right? So more or less the orbital paths are already finished. It is already licensed. So where is the space for us to go into the space? Jagai nahi hamara. So what happens? Though the organizations are talking as if they are international, meant for all the countries, serving to the countries, all the countries' interests, all that. But in practice, when they are telling first come first basis, the country which is technologically advanced has got more resources, and naturally they dominate. And if OneWeb is having say 4,000 satellite license, if Amazon has another 12,000-13,000 satellite license, and SpaceX has got 24,000 plus satellites. And as per the license terms, that license term says that if you are not launching 1/3 of the satellites within 3 years, then we will reconsider. That means that 3 years we have nothing to do. Right? Till he fails, we have to wait in the queue. So these kind of anomalies can be debated in the international forums. And whenever we are talking, this is possible. It is not by just shouting it. We cannot be a shouting brigade. We should be also technologically strong enough so that they will listen to us. So this is one such anomaly. Let's see the video and I'll discuss after that. It's a 2 minutes video.
Asteroids will be just as valuable as metal deposits, as water is a critical commodity both for sustaining humans in space and as a source of oxygen for rocket fuel. Even basic asteroid rock may prove a valuable building material, as it could shield humans from deadly radiation. As all of these examples illustrate, there are significant possibilities to exploit asteroids as a valuable source of extraterrestrial resources. It has indeed already been calculated that some individual asteroids contain raw materials worth more than $100 billion. Asteroids are likely to be easier to mine than the Moon. This is because even the largest asteroids have very low gravitational fields. This means that it would be relatively straightforward for spacecraft to both travel to asteroids and to launch back into space. Extracted metals, water, and other valuable raw materials could therefore be readily transported to the Earth or other locations, perhaps in vast rocket trains. Once suitable asteroids have been identified, they could be mined in various ways. For a start, on larger asteroids, bases may be established. Here, any human quarters could potentially be cut deep into the rock to provide radiation shielding. Industrial facilities attached to the surface would then process and store extracted materials. As an alternative to establishing long-term bases, limpet ships may temporarily attach themselves to asteroids large or small. These potentially robotic mining craft would then eat into the surface and accumulate extracted raw materials in their cargo bays. Limpet ships are likely to be the preferred option to mine smaller asteroids, or to extract concentrated deposits of critical materials from large asteroids that are largely comprised of less valuable rock. As yet another option, processing stations may be positioned near a large asteroid or any densely populated part of the field. Small asteroids or laser-cut asteroid sections would then be fed to the processing station, refined into useful materials, and once again sent back to the Earth. Alternatively, rocket trains may transport small captured asteroids or asteroid sections to processing stations in Earth orbit. While asteroid mining may sound like science fiction,
So that is a video where the point here is, suppose we mine and the companies are already formed. It's nothing new. As the video says, it's not a science fiction, right, anymore. Already companies are there. They have been funded, and there are some. Some Indian college students are also from employed already. Things are going ahead. Suppose the asset comes back to the Earth, whether it is thrown in Indian Ocean or in Pacific Ocean, we don't know what is the technology is providing for to receive that on the planet Earth. But the asset will be owned by whom? And who are all the legitimate owners of that? Suppose tomorrow someone goes to the moon and installs 4 flags and tells this area is mine, right? Like a real estate guy. Who is going to question that? Because the moon is a satellite of the planet Earth, and we all of us deserve it, right? So there are some regulations and the norms to be created or developed, which whenever we are talking in global forums or the multilateral forums, we have to talk to people. And what I could see is that why I am sharing this with the youngsters is that maybe an abstract subject, but what I feel is that the people who are right now in the stage and the podium who are discussing are not really informed. They are just talking with the flimsy idea they have, and they are not talking with the conviction, because they don't know the backgrounds, they don't know the hard work it involves when some geopolitical situation is being denied by them because they are not a dominant country or they are not rich enough, right? So we have to talk to them through Twitters and the social media, share our thoughts with them so that when they are going, representing us, are given, when they are in bigger platforms, they can talk or reflect our views. Right. Another point I would like to share is, recently I had I was in a forum, global dialogue forum, something where the debate was about how artificial intelligence can help us in two subjects. One is that the employability of the technical people who are being brought in. Today we are generating around 14-15 lakh technical people from all the engineering and technical institutes. Out of them, around 1 million people are not employable for several reasons. This is what the study says. So how AI can help them out? This was one question posted to me. Right. So I was of the opinion that if the AI people who are working, even companies like like us or any other company using AI, can work specifically towards rather mapping the weaknesses of the children, because children have weaknesses. Everyone they have one urban rural divide is one, another thing ethnic divide, social divide. So many things are there. Instead of giving them a standard syllabus, we can diagnose the exact requirements, categorize them into 5-10 categories, and give them virtual realities. Through virtual realities we can teach the same subject. Given industry like atmosphere, I have to say this, that some of the colleges in like IITs have so huge infrastructure, and there are some engineering colleges which are not even equivalent to one football ground size, and some engineering colleges are in the main road in a city, in the second or third floor of a main road building. So how can they have the infrastructure? But it is not the child's mistake. It is somewhere the mistake lies somewhere else, not with the children. So that way, to cover up these weaknesses, we can give them a industrial atmosphere virtually. We can give them teaching techniques virtually. We can teach the subjects virtually. So there are several techniques where we can make them employable, and that will help us also, because every time companies like us, we spend a lot of time in training them from from minus to zero level. उसके लिए 1-2 साल चले जाते. So उसके बाद if they are continuing with us, then we give them further employment. So can we work on that? That is one point. Another point is that the teaching techniques of the teachers and the faculty, there are two areas, again 2A and 2B. One is the teaching technique, another is the upgradation of the teaching. Right. The teachers employed already for 20-30 years comfortably are there in their own comfort zone. They are not neither upgrading themselves or not upgrading the teaching techniques. So can AI people work on that? So that now we will have a uniform teaching, or somewhere we will be in a 3 sigma limit. Now we are really in a random level. So I think we are that technology 4th revolution, industrial revolution 4 में, whatever opportunity we are having, the software strength and soft knowledge strength, are we missing it out? So we have to think about that and work on that, and we have to work on some commercial possibilities also, so that the companies who are working in the IR towards in this one also will make some money out of it, so that they will not be a research oriented organization or a funded organization. So the AI companies can work on these subjects which will strengthen that. And AI team, I think we also have a responsibility as JanyuTech, that we have to improve something on the AI side. We have to work on that. So with that, conclusively, what I can say is that there is a golden opportunity for youngsters next 10-20 years, that we can be changing the what you call the global order into a multipolar order, than being stuck with the unipolar or bipolar or tripolar. Instead of, we should do away with this possibility of tripolar, because with China emerging, being an autocratic nation, the tripolar things will be very, very disastrous. So we have to make it multipolar, and definitely we have a technology and soft power with us, and we can go in that direction. This is my thinking. Now, over to the session. You can, any questions we can discuss, sir.
That there have been dominations in the world by people who have had technology. There's also been domination by some other means. For example, I'll give an example. Japan Japan only as a race, they decided that they'll go for quality. So they worked hugely on quality. Technology was mostly American or European. They did not have their own technology in science. But with quality, they could dominate the auto world. They actually beat America, which was the leader in automobile production, automobile business.
Yes, sir.
Similarly, if you see China dominated. I'm not talking about military strength just now. Yes, they are trying to build that. But China dominated by having a very good, organized, hardworking workforce. So, as a race, there could also be a domination through other means, and we Indians have been, in the forefront on software industry, being more individualistic. That probably has suited the Indians, and that's why they are dominating in many places. So this could also be a way of increasing the strength. But surely, the way you said that there is a chance for us for Industry 4.0 and utilize AI and try to gain strength over others. The faster you exploit, America was the one which exploited the natural resources fastest. So they became the richest country in the world. So if somebody can do that faster, meaning we have to think of how to get Industry 4.0 faster.
So our technology dominance or our present level, since we are not starting from basic innovation, something like that, we are only talking about this can be actually used for bettering our wealth immediately as soon as possible. So wealth by default leads to power, right? See, however, our PMs and FMs talk in international forum, ultimately the wealth created by year on year by US is, with the so low population, is going to be a difficult thing for us to sustain in the long run. As our achievement goals, we are talking about 5 trillion economy, 6 trillion economy, something like that. It will be difficult. We have to stay focused on that. Any other questions? Prithvi, you have some opinions?
One question I can ask is, while if technology is the force behind to make some country a superpower, I think Germany is cutting edge in terms of that. So why doesn't that, and so which means either the intent of how you use technology, or I was just curious, how come Germany is...
I'll answer that. See, it is not sustainable. See, today UK is not even 1% of the global manufacturing, because they start living on the glories. But a typical case study is UK, right? They once upon a time they were kings, right? Even today they try to dominate because of the past privileges. They want to continue with the privileges. Same thing happens to Germany also. If you go see the German, you are visiting Germany, many people are visiting Germany. You see some of the industries are silent. The order books of the huge companies are literally idle. They have to have their factories outside Germany, right? In China or elsewhere in cheap labor countries. Otherwise, they are not able to sell because they price themselves outprice themselves, right? And they were living on a glory because once upon a time, GmbH, German Development Bank was giving a loan, and German machineries were supposed to be bought, right? So they enslaved some 24 countries, 25 countries, and the countries place an order. All the German companies' order books were full, and German Development Bank gives them loan because the money. So it was how they were entire colonizing nations or European nations had that policy like that. Today, when China emerged, then a lot of things have opened up actually. One thing is sure that the interdependency of the countries have come to a stage that where one country cannot shut down the other. Typical case study is the Ukraine war, where sanction is there but for not these products. So they have to embrace themselves by first telling a sanction, then exempting some goods like fuels and gases. Same way, when the interdependency is there, but still the political, the geopolitical situation, the dominance is still prevailing. Right. One side they have to agree that they are dependent on some people, right? But other side they still try to dominate. So isko kaisa todna, right? Or instead of todna kaise, we can tell that we also have the right to dominate them. Right. For example, this ITU. Another thing, if you see in that slide, my slide, that aviation authority something is there. Today, if you manufacture a plane which can carry more than 24 passengers, then someone has to authorize us. Someone has to give a flying OT certificate, and that fellow will be sitting in US, and they will be having members from Boeing and Airbus. They will never do that. So there cannot be one more aeroplane manufacturing company, and unless an autocratic country like China comes in. So these things, unless, you are young generation people, next 20-30 years is going to be in your hands. So we have to work on something. First of all, our disparity has to come down, right? Within our educated lot, our own engineers, our own people should become employable. And the AI, we should use first to ourselves that how to, map them and give them the right products so that almost all of us are in some 1 sigma, 2 sigma level. Right?